Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to the Bringers of the Dawn book club meeting. Today is the 9th of April in 2025, and we're meeting to discuss the next chapter, which is 17. Um, Before we begin, though, I do want to do a short meditation of about 10 minutes to set the energies. Uh, it helps, I think, a lot to bring the energies to the right place in order to discuss the material. So let us stay in the comfortable meditation position. Um, I recommend that you cross your feet or sit in a traditional pose. Put your hands together, relax them into your lap, close the eyes, take in a deep breath, hold, and exhale. Take in a deep breath, hold, and exhale. Now just breathe normally. Just observe your natural breath. Keep attention on the breath. Should your attention be distracted by a thought, just bring it back to the breath. Okay, another 30 seconds, friends. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're ready, rub your palms of your hands together. Place them on the eyes. Open your eyes and look into the palms. Okay, so today we are discussing chapter 17, the language of light. As usual, I'll just go ahead and read and make commentary, and people can jump in with questions or comments at any time. Don't feel like you can't interrupt me because you can. All right. So to start, it says, the Pleiadians say anyway, the avatars and masters have now permeated the grid work of the world, bringing with them their own tools for teaching. The tools that are being utilized are artifacts that are not of your dimension. They are symbolic forms that literally have a life of their own. They make up what is known as the language of light. So, one main point here in this paragraph is that they say that these tools, these symbolic forms, have a life of their own. And they mean that literally, as you'll see with some explanation that follows. The Pleiadians say you are implanted with a structure, a geometric form, which triggers certain information within you. It also facilitates the sending of information directly into your being. And the large majority of you are implanted, and if you are not by now, shortly you will be if you choose to open and align yourself. No one is implanted who does not choose it. Now, when they say the large majority of you are implanted, I'm pretty certain they mean light workers, people who are in the family of light. I think that's who they're talking about. The Pleiadians say this structure of the language of light is a way of receiving information and energy to facilitate your development. It's a method of learning without doing it through books or through the intellect. It involves opening to the belief that there is indeed a hierarchy, immense beyond comprehension, that has been working with humanity since the very beginning. This hierarchy works with love, cherishes who you are, and has been able to see through the time mechanisms that are keyed into the planet to know that consciousness is ready for the evolutionary leap. There are 144,000 members of the spiritual hierarchy who are infused in the grid work of the planet at this time. Each master has its own seal that represents one portion of the language of light. And you have 144,000 seals of energy that will eventually be infused within your being. To start with, you will work with 12 forms that the body will be able to hold. And much later, once the transformation has occurred, there will be an infusion of the entire 144,000 symbolic language structures through your being. That will be an unfoldment that cannot even be explained in this lifetime. This mutation is a process unfolding within you that will allow you to move into another realm of experience. Each person on the planet has the potential to move through this mutation. Many will stop the process because they do not have the desire to align themselves with higher consciousness. When you are aware of who you are, that is one thing. And when you become aware of the divine consciousness that seeds this planet, an intellect that is vast, loving, and works with you, and when you call to that consciousness and ask to be a portion of it, that is when you are implanted with the geometric forms. The forms that are implanted come in a variety of shapes, such as the pyramid structure. Why is the pyramid so important? On this planet and throughout the cosmos, the pyramid structure is utilized to represent a great unity of consciousness. It is the structure that is the most difficult to create in all of its many facets, and yet it is a structure of perfection. It is a structure that gathers energy from Earth and sends it outward. The structures of the sphere and the spiral will also be implanted inside you. The spiral is very dear to many of you because you have sojourned within cultures and societies where the spiral was utilized to communicate many ideas. There will also be implanted the structures of parallel lines and the cube. And of course, there will be the structure of the Merkaba vehicle, which is the five-sided figure. The five-sided figure represents the figure of the human being in its most unlimited state, the totally free human. Some of you know it as a symbolic structure called a Merkaba vehicle. It is the human design without any limitations. It is the human being able to fly, which is something that a large majority of you do not think you can do. This implant comes when you truly commit yourself to do what was formerly not possible. Which implant or geometric form will be implanted inside you will depend first of all on your request for alignment. It will also depend on your belief that these entities choose to be available to you if you choose to be available for them. As you begin to unfold and allow what are called miracles or magnificent events to manifest in your life, they will begin. So, first of all, they say we must request this alignment. Okay, if you want to be part of this language of light, you really should willfully ask for it. And then it also says that we should make ourselves available for it, not only request it, but intend to be available. Now, I think it's interesting that they say it will depend on your belief that these entities choose to be available to you. The geometric structures aren't just shapes, okay? And the Pleiadians will actually describe this a little bit in more detail in the chapter, but they refer to these structures as entities, okay? So it's a point to keep in mind because if you just think about these as shapes and energetic forms, the whole meaning of it doesn't really come through. Keep in mind there's this aspect of the geometric form as an entity as well, literally speaking, according to what they say. Okay, Pleiadians say many of you will start with the implant of the circle because it represents God form, unity, and completeness. Some of you will select the pyramid structure to be implanted since you have had many lifetimes with discovered and still undiscovered pyramids all over the planet. You think your geography is known, but there are many things still undiscovered because they are slipping from one reality to another. Deep within jungles, there are many buried pyramids, often lying buried beneath mounds of earth. There are still many wonders to uncover. Those of you who are willing to believe that there are truly no limitations will be able to take the Merkaba structure and move yourself off the planet with it while you are still living on the planet. The desire to do this must exist in you if you are to be implanted with the Merkaba. Already, some of you have attempted to travel with it, and you know how it can be used in your being. When you truly call the Merkaba to yourself, and you are willing to get the feeling of what that truly means, to be unlimited consciousness that travels with your body, without your body leaving the planet, that is when implanting will occur. The Merkaba is not the highest implanting, as there are no highest or lowest implantings. Implanting comes when it will best suit your personal development. Once you have become implanted, there will be an unending process of new forms coming into your being. So anyone who believes truly that there are no limitations, that is the good candidate for the Merkaba structure. So if you like that, keep in
Yeah.
mind no limitations. I like the idea of no limitations. The idea of freedom is, I think, equated with divine property. If you think about God, one of the ways you might describe God is free, totally free, 100% free, no limitations. So it's a divine thought to say there are no limitations. Okay, Pleiadians say, you do not consciously choose the form that will be implanted in you. However, you choose the life you have, which opens you to the structures of the language of light. You choose what is important to you each day. That is your access to these forms. Through this marriage of energies, eventually you will all hold the alphabet of light inside your beings. And this alphabet of light will teach you. If you have dreamt of geometric forms, it is an indication that the forms are working with you. So this is an interesting statement, and it got me thinking about an experience I had one day. If you have dreamt of geometric forms, one day when I was just beginning to start a meditation on my own, I closed my eyes and I directed the eyes upward, and I had this exceptionally clear vision of a heart. And it was a perfectly formed heart, purple in color, with the center of it completely black in the shape of a heart. And it was absolutely clear and crisp and well defined. And when I would take my eyes and look straight ahead or down, I didn't see this heart. But when I looked up, it was there. And it was a very, very unique, interesting experience. And for me, the heart shape is a geometric form. Of course, many people associate it with love. I also do. And it was an amazing experience. And this sentence got me thinking about that. If you have dreamt of geometric forms, um, I wouldn't call my experience a dream. I don't believe I was dreaming. So if you've had experiences like that with geometric forms, that may be an indication that the forms are working with you, say the Pleiadians, whether you've dreamed it or had another kind of an experience. Okay, let's continue. Um, Pleiadians say the spiral is one of the basic forms of the language of light geometry. It's a bridge, a teaching unto itself. The form of it is coded with information. And when you ride the spiral, it is seemingly non-ending. This shows you that the journey into yourself is non-ending, and the journey outside of yourself is non-ending. You, as a species, will be able to split your consciousness and go in both directions so that consciousness can be connected. By taking the non-ending journey within and the non-ending journey without, you link yourself up into a connected spiral in which there is universal truth. We have said that the cells in your body contain the entire history of the universe. Ideally, you will come to realize the existence of this golden library within yourselves during this lifetime and learn how to read what is there. Taking the spiral within is one part of the journey. The trick is to both go within and go without and realize that they are the same, right? The same, non-ending no matter which direction you go. That's an aspect of the infinite beingness. Pleiadians say the spiral exists in many dimensions. When you visualize the spiral, you will feel that you have known it. Yet at first, you are only knowing one aspect of it. When you begin to grow with the spiral, you will realize that it has so many dimensions that you could spend the rest of eternity, to use your term, exploring it. It grows. The spiral is the key to tapping into what is inside of you. Your DNA is in the form of a spiral. Spirals are all around you, and the language of light rides upon the light-encoded filaments that also descend in spiral form. This is something that is experiential, and it will grow for you. In your meditation, feel yourself riding a spiral like you would ride a tornado. Visualize yourself seeing a spiral approaching that is like a tornado. And then, instead of running from it, stand there and feel yourself whirled up inside of it. Ride it, for it is a doorway to other realities. These language of light geometrical shapes and forms are collections of experiences of individuals who have incarnated on this planet, defied the human laws, awakened themselves to high abilities, and then manifested themselves as language and geometric components. Once these energies existed as men and women on this planet, they have evolved themselves into geometric symbols, and they exist in their sphere of activity just like you exist in your body. These entities exist in a language system or a geometric system. So again, they refer to the symbols as living entities. Okay, so I find it very intriguing. I don't know what more to say about it than that, um, other than we are all connected. No matter what form we have, we're all connected. And in fact, form really isn't very important at all. Okay, so I think that's part of the message here, but it's very subtle, and it's just good to be aware of it. Um, it's maybe all I can really say about it. Okay, Pleiadians say there are universes of these systems, and there are visitations into your own universe from those universes at this time. There are circles and other shapes being put upon this planet in the grain fields that are inexplicable as far as you are concerned. These imprints are a frequency, not a process or action. There is a song or a story or language that is being implanted on the surface of Earth with language symbols. These symbols come to establish a certain frequency, and they're going to increase. Eventually, some of you will build houses that are geometric shapes that are not simply squares or rectangles. Many of the dwellings in the Pleiades do not have shapes as you know them, and it is understood there that shapes and angles hold energy. In astrology, it is understood that certain angles have power points and that certain things happen with certain angles. It is the same with shapes. The Great Pyramid is all about the use of angles and shapes. Energy collects in angles, in shapes, and in forms, and you can learn to create these shapes and live in and around them. Energies are formed and transmitted in this way. You will also discover that certain degrees have certain powers, and that some angles are very uncomfortable to be in. It is sometimes better to sleep in the middle of a room rather than having your bed jammed into a 90-degree angle, because the 90-degree angle creates an energy lock. In the middle of the room, the energy flows around you. I have noticed this personally in a subtle way, that sleeping on a bed that's in a corner, it doesn't seem to be a restful experience for me. And I never really had that pointed out to me explicitly, like in the book right now. Um, my bed where I sleep is in the middle of the room, away from corners, and I just naturally put it there. So I kind of knew this in a subconscious way, but I don't know that I could have told anybody that. So it's good information to have. The Pleiadians say in third dimensional reality, many portals are now being opened to bring about evolution upon Earth. At one time, the planet was sealed off and put in quarantine because there were forces that fought here. There have been incredible wars upon this planet, and some of the vestiges of these wars still exist as very barren areas on the planet. This was the time of chaos and confusion when creator gods fought creator gods. During the most recent wave of the wars, about 10 or 12,000 years ago, Earth was sealed off because those beings who operated with light lost the battle. Light does not always win, you know. Light is not always the victor as you think of a victor, for light must learn to integrate with all portions of itself. Prime Creator is within all things, and light and dark are part of the Creator. Therefore, light must incorporate with the dark portion of itself. I think that's a good point to remember always. The oneness of everything. Even even the apparent polarity of light, the light-dark polarity, is still an aspect of oneness. So Pleiadians say time has orchestrated and brought events together. A number of cycles were set to pass since the last wars, after which time the energy portals into the planet would again be opened so that light could enter. This is that time period. Light is being orchestrated to once again come onto the planet, and it is increasing daily. In order for energy to work its way through your consciousness, it must house itself on the planet. Intelligence penetrates in the form of waves, making geometric shapes on Earth. It is not that a spaceship comes down, makes crop circles in the night, and then takes off. Although some circles have been caused by ship landings, intelligence can take the guise of any form it wants. And very often, intelligence comes in the form of a wave. A time will come when there will actually be a wave of light that sweeps Earth. Intelligence is beyond the spoken word and beyond the written word, for its frequency, for it is frequency that sometimes comes in geometric shapes. So if we think about that just for a second, the spoken word or any word really is a symbol, okay? Whether it's spoken or written, a written word is an obvious symbol and it stands for what it means. The spoken word, I think, is more intricate because it's vibrations coming through the air and it's a sound vibration, but that vibration is still a symbol for what it means. And the meaning behind the symbol is the intelligence. Okay. So I think that's something to be aware of. It's maybe obvious in one sense, but also very subtle in another sense. So to get back to what the Pleiadians are saying, they say that Pythagoras had a beginning grasp of this, what we just talked about, but his geometry was not understood by others. So you may remember the Pythagorean theorem um, from your geometry classes as it relates to triangles. Um, he was one of the great mathematicians of his time. So, of course, he would have understood all of it, and nobody else would at the time. Anyone who's a leader uh, is tasked with teaching others what they know. And so I would imagine it would have been difficult for him to try and get that knowledge out there to other people. But anyway, let me pick up again here. Uh, the Pleiadians say geometry is an evolved intelligence, a collection of experience that can communicate huge amounts of information. Actually, crop circles all over the planet are put there by sounds above human frequency to implement these language shapes. Many times in the beginning, these shapes are circles. They will evolve into triangles, lines, and many other things. There is a phrase right here in this paragraph that I find intriguing. They say that crop circles are put there by sounds above human frequency. So I'm not really sure what they mean by sounds above human frequency. So I'm not sure how important this point is. Um, whether they mean the range of hearing that a human has in terms of the frequency, or whether they mean something else, like there's a human energy which equates to a certain frequency or frequency range. Okay. I'm not sure what they mean. So maybe at the end we'll come back and try to figure that one out. I'm just curious, maybe to know what other people think about that.
I would think it means a little bit of both
Yeah.
because in the realm of thought, that when we silence ourselves, then only are we ready to hear what isn't there, but it's within us.
Okay.
So, and and when we compose ourselves at that point, it is only, see, greatest of thinkers, they had to go inside and be in deep contemplation for that creativity to come from somewhere to them. Right? They always say that it's not from me, it's through me. Right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
higher frequency only sets in and comes closer to you when you elevate yourself through the different modalities that people who, like I resonate towards sound. For me, sound is very important, and I hear more things, I feel more things because of the sound affinity I have. Some people have smell. So there are just so many different ways of how frequency is. It's not just through sound, it's through the whole atmosphere is frequency. It's what we have affinity to. So it's your senses that will decide your frequency. Whichever sense is the strongest, if that is your strongest frequency. So when the sound is above, so that is where we cannot see. And you know that animals have higher hearing and they can see more in the dark as well, right?
Yeah.
So that is the difference. When we are of that frequency, it we can see it right there.
Okay.
So it is in the realm of we can get to it, but we have to elevate ourselves to that.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. Of course, I agree exactly with what you've said. So, Pleiadians say the crop circles have been most prevalent in England and throughout Europe. However, they're also in the area previously known as the Soviet Union and South America. They're even in the United States, although some people are doing a good job of pretending they are not there. We understand that some of your news broadcasters are planning upcoming shows about these crop circles. We will see how much they pretend they don't know about them. It's going to be interesting. So, I remember in the 1990s watching news broadcasts about the crop circles, and I thought it was interesting. I was very intrigued by it and thought, oh, what a mystery, you know? Um, I don't follow the news as much as I used to anymore. So I don't know how much this phenomenon is continuing or not continuing. But does anybody ever see any reports of crop circles in the news in the recent years?
I have not.
No? Okay. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if it means that there's less of an occurrence or if there's just not much reporting on it because news people lost interest. But okay. So the
Suri-
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Surisha has a whole book on crop circles.
Oh, she
Surisha,
does? Yeah.
maybe we can ask her to check what's the latest one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Towards the end, if she wants to come on and let us know. That would be interesting. Okay. So the Pleiadians say these geometric shapes, and they're talking about the crop circles, are like hieroglyphs. The hieroglyphs and pictographs carved in stone on this planet are a similar generation of intelligence. In other words, if one were to read the hieroglyphs based on the Rosetta Stone, the hieroglyphs would communicate one thing. If one were able to remember the secret language of the priests, the hieroglyphs would tell another story. And if one were able to understand the language of the creator gods, they would say something entirely different. The circles and shapes being put on earth are here to assist you in holding and managing your frequency and having the courage to live your light. They make frequency information available in a very subtle way, and no one can figure them out yet. These shapes are all connected to one another, and if they were all written out simultaneously on some farmer's field, something would happen to them immediately. They are spaced from one continent to another, and they move a frequency band around the planet that will help activate Earth's grid work. They will allow you not to feel so weird with what you know and to feel more comfortable with the change in frequency as they occur. This is just a little bit of what the crop circles do. They are quite interesting. Many of them are designed and constructed by what some people call ascended masters. There's a joke behind them. You must understand that some beings, as they become very evolved, develop a tremendous sense of humor. They see the humor in all things. And I do really appreciate how they point out the sense of humor and how you can find humor in pretty much anything. And I'll just say that this happens to me a lot, and I have to be careful about how I find things humorous so I don't offend anybody. Um, but especially around my family, people will say and do things, and I'll just find it humorous and I'll laugh or I'll make a joke or something. But once in a while, when someone is serious, like my wife, like when she's serious about something and I start joking and laughing, she becomes very offended and tells me that I need to be serious because this is serious stuff. And then I realize, oh, okay. So then I have to pretend now that I'm serious. And so I do. I just pretend I'm serious for a while so that she's going to be happy. Um, so if I laugh too much, people get offended. And I do find that also to be funny. And so it makes me want to laugh even more. But at a certain point, I have to stop because people do get upset about it. Um, so I think this statement here about having a sense of humor is really, really great. And the more humor you have, the more easy your life is going to flow and the more happy and joyful you'll be. So there's nothing wrong with humor. Next time somebody laughs, just keep that in mind. Okay. Pleiadians say, as we have said, geometric shapes and forms are carriers of intelligence. They are frequency waves that can be modulated and changed. The shapes coming onto Earth are like energy gates or energy glyphs. They hold intelligence and are being set up to eventually connect and make an intelligent grid work around the planet. This grid work will have a frequency that humanity can use to evolve. The whole language is not on the planet at this time. The glyphs come onto Earth as a result of certain evolvement of consciousness. They work with places that are vortex centers that are now drawing them in. And over the billions of years that Earth has been in orbit, these centers have been covered over and buried. Some have gone into dormancy, and many of them are being reawakened because the seal around the planet has been penetrated. The crop circles are phenomenological expressions of consciousness. They come into your reality to show you that the reasoning mind cannot control all of the data, much as it would like to. These events occur to intersect with the coding of consciousness of all human beings. Whenever reality cannot be explained, a certain niche is opened within consciousness. The crop circles are completely beyond the logical mind. Therefore, they force the consensus view of reality to expand, since reality, as formerly designed, cannot house these events as a possibility. They are a trigger. They force reality to move beyond its own limitations. So I think this is a great point about, not understanding something that doesn't make logical sense. Um, we generally can refer to those types of things as miracles. Oh, it's a miracle. I don't understand this. No one can explain it. It must be a miracle. That's an opening for an expansion in consciousness, right? It's an expansion of awareness to be open to something that you didn't think could be possible, but now it has occurred. So now it's challenging your view of what you think is reality, where you put the limits of your belief. And that's one of the magic or powers behind these things that we call miracles, is that they can really change your perspective when they happen. And so, be open to the possibility that we don't know everything, and be open to the possibility that things happen, and be observant. And I think that's one of the ways that awareness will expand and become a higher a higher state in everyone's life. So let me continue. Pleiadians say there are a number of reasons for the existence of crop circles. Basically, they exist to force reality to move, to get you feeling rather than thinking. Most who explore these circles think their way through the circle rather than feel their way through the circles. Great Britain is having a rash of them because, in general, the British have a very logically oriented consciousness. However, the land of the British Isles is imprinted with megalithic spirals and stone forms that have intensely imprinted the intuitive faculties of the inhabitants. This phenomenon has no logic to it. It is forcing a logically oriented society to recognize something that makes no sense. And it is being done in a very playful and obvious way without creating a threat to anyone's view of reality. If ships were to land everywhere, people would get upset. When corn lies down in concentric circles and doesn't even break or die, no one really gets too upset. Do you understand how energies play with you? It is necessary to do certain things so that you can get it and figure it out without having your circuits overloaded. And I love this example of using the word play, the energies play with you. Well, your energy too, and you're playing with these other forms of energy. And so being open to the feeling states and the change and the unexpectedness of it all and the my mind can't figure this out, what is happening? Realize it's a way that energy plays with energy, right? Here's this energy, it wants to communicate, it wants to expand awareness and consciousness, and so it's doing something. It's doing something that the logical mind can't explain. And by doing that and playing with other forms of energy, it automatically expands consciousness and awareness. And that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Any type of situation that someone says is a miracle is exactly that. It's one form of energy playing with another form, not in any bad or harmful way, but in a way that is like synergistic to the whole system. It's an expansive way for the system to behave, and you're part of that system. When when the miracle comes to you and you say, "Wow, it was really a miracle. I have no idea how that happened." That's the energy coming to play with you, and your awareness is expanded because of it. So I love this. The word choice here, I think it's very appropriate to describe what's happening. Okay. Pleiadians say this language is being introduced onto the planet as a story, a glyph of information that holds a frequency to assist you in holding your own frequency. As you awaken, it is easy for others to read you and recognize you. You are monitored all of the time because there are devices that monitor the evolution and location of consciousness. Once consciousness has reached a certain place, assistance is brought from the outside to establish other realms of that frequency. In other words, let's say you open a restaurant and it's a big hit. You run and maintain it and sell really good food. And then someone comes along and says, how about franchising? Let's get you everywhere. These geometric shapes help you franchise the frequency by spreading it all over the planet and holding it. They bring you to a new level of attainment. Okay, so that ends the chapter 17, language, the language of light. So now we can open it up for discussion and commentary. If there's any points that someone wanted to make or to bring out a point that maybe we didn't bring out very well, now would be a good time. What do you think, Jaya?
It was interesting. They mentioned pyramid and all the different shapes and angles and energy, like what we hear a lot in our anapanasati meditation, like when pyramid meditation, like why we
Yeah.
use pyramids and all that.
We like to use the pyramid and to sit under a pyramid when we meditate. Yeah, because we're very aware that these pyramids are energy collectors and
Yeah.
can bring in energy from the cosmos, whether it comes from the earth or from somewhere else. I don't know that it
Mhm.
matters much, but they're energy concentrators. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that they mentioned that pyramids. Yeah. I have an abstract. If anybody has anything, we can discuss. Otherwise, I can read the summary.
Okay, that sounds good. Why don't you read it?
Mhm. Yeah. Chapter 17, The Language of Light, discusses the emergence of the language of light, a system of symbolic geometric forms that facilitate spiritual growth and connection to higher consciousness. This language is infused within individuals who align themselves with the spiritual hierarchy, which consists of 144,000 members working towards humanity's evolution. The language of light utilizes geometric shapes such as pyramids, spirals, circles, and the Merkaba to implant information within individuals, each structure symbolizing different aspects of consciousness. Implantation occurs through personal choice and alignment with higher consciousness, and individuals may start their journey with foundational shapes like circles or pyramids. The spiral is emphasized as a bridge for exploring both the inner self and the universe, representing non ending journeys of self discovery. It is connected to human DNA and serves as a key to assessing inner wisdom and experiences from the universe's history. Crop circles are manifestations of the language of light, functioning as frequencies and intelligence encoded in geometric forms. These shapes challenge logical reasoning, prompting a shift in perception and understanding of reality. The shapes facilitate the integration of frequency information and are carriers of experience helping to evolve consciousness on Earth. They also serve to create a gridwork that connects individuals and assists in the awakening process of humanity. The chapter concludes that the introduction of these geometric symbols is crucial for assisting individuals in raising their frequencies and expanding beyond current limitations. The language of light provides a pathway to deeper self awareness and connectivity with universal consciousness, emphasizing the importance of feeling over thinking in this journey.
Yeah, okay, thanks. 144,000 symbols. That seems like a lot of symbols to me. We've only got 20 some in the Latin alphabet that we use. So, as far as making up words and stuff go, but I know this is on a completely different level. And so, I also know that the number 144,000 is very symbolic. It does occur in the Bible in certain places, and so people put a lot of importance on that number. So I'm not sure uh, much more about what it means other than it's highly symbolic. So, um, Sirisha, what do you know about crop circles?
Yeah, I would, if you allow me, I mean, if you, with your permission, I would like to share something like
Oh,
1 lakh.
yeah. Sure, please tell us. We would love to hear it.
Yeah, it's 1,44,000. It has, the number has so much significance. Um, all the time, if you follow Theosophy books, Ascended Masters teachings, there you will, they all mentioned about 1,44,000 light workers. So all the time on the planet Earth, every time the 1,44,000 light workers will be are there to balance the Earth. For example, now I'm a light worker. So if I vacate my body, someone replaces my place. So like that all the time, 1,44,000 light workers, they anchor light through them or whatever to balance the Earth. So and even our chakras, if you look at our petals, if you count that petals till third eye, and um, if you multiply that with thousands sahasrara, that comes around 144. So 1,44,000. So like that in every religion there is a significance in 1,44,000. And yeah, the pyramids, all patterns, all sacred geometry patterns has some energy. Every pattern, every angle has some different purpose. See, for example, Giza angle has some purpose, and all our even I study research about little about Russian angle. All our like Hinduism, temples, Buddha, mosques, church, all those are built based on the Russian angle. So 76.845. So that carry different energy. So each angle, each different has different energy. And Patriji many times mentions that uh, there are so many planets out there, so many cosmos in the so many universes, multiverses are there, right? So each planet or carries some different angle of pyramids. And in this, like in this chapter mentioned, there are so many pyramids out there. Those were all under the water in Antarctica, and so many are there. They were covered with mud and everything during collapses like catastrophes because of that flood, everything. So even Patriji said there are thousands of pyramids in China. If they all open up, awaken, the consciousness will, humanity's consciousness will shift just like that. So yeah, same way, crop circles also. There are thousands of crop circles. So the that crop circles depends on the earth frequency. That keeps on changing it. So that also energy, everything is energy, right? So angles, by looking at them, it will open up portals within us, and whoever eat that crops, that will change their consciousness. So many purposes that are there. So according to the frequency, the crop circles will come. So I think these days they are, those are little reduced. They are not coming that before, because already Earth enter into higher dimension.
Mm.
So,
So maybe
humanity,
the purpose of the crop circles
yeah,
is becoming less of a necessity now because the state of consciousness is already increased beyond the level where it's been needed. Is that maybe what's happening?
yes, that's what.
Okay.
Mainly those were around the Stonehenge,
Yeah.
the UK, because that is the heart chakra of the planet Earth. So, yeah, now based on the frequency, collective consciousness, everything carries energy. So, even everything, even platonic solids, those five solids names, right? So, Plato
Yeah.
invented those. I mean, it was
Like a
there eon before.
tetrahedron and an octahedron. Those are the Platonic solids, right? Yeah. Those have a
They
lot of
feel
energy.
that Plato reinvented those. That's why they name it as platonic solids.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, everything has energy, mathematics, everything.
It turns out that in chemistry, a lot of the smaller and simpler types of molecules exist in the same structural form as Platonic solids, which I think is very interesting. So the octahedral type geometry is a common form for certain molecular structures. And the tetrahedral geometry is a pretty common form for other types of molecules. And they're very common molecules. Things like methane, CH4, that exists in a tetrahedral shape. So even the molecules have these same structural forms as the Platonic solids.
Yeah.
So it's just super amazing to know all this stuff.
Our total body is made up of sacred geometry patterns.
Yeah, the molecules in the body are composed of these, yeah, they have structures that are highly symmetric. And so I would imagine, it just contributes to energy, the flow of
And one
energy.
more thing in mentioned was Merkaba.
Ah, Merkaba. Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
us more about that
So,
if you know. I know a little bit about Merkaba, but probably not enough.
yeah. I mean, I hold this there. This is my,
Oh, is that an example of one?
yes, small one.
Oh, okay. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So actual Merkaba is like a same. If you build it in the structure way, there are in India there are like more than 1,000 Merkaba pyramids were there. It's not that big. Maximum size was 29 by 29 feet. But 11 by 11, 15 by 15, 17, that smaller pyramids, including everything, almost like around 1,000 pyramids were built in India. So actual 51 angle, that pyramid, and one more angle, the reverse. Same angle, it will be in the reverse way. So that is like actual angle, it will draws the energy from the cosmos, right? The reverse angle, it will draws the energy from the earth core. So it will be like a transformer. So earth core to cosmos. If we meditate in that, and our light body will activate. That's what, if our light body activates, we travel consciously. astral travel without a conscious, our dreams were unconscious travels, right? Astral travels. If we activate our light body, we can consciously travel to the other dimensions. That's a concept of multiverse.
Okay. And that involves the idea of the Merkaba structure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. All right. Well, thanks for that explanation. I did not know about the Merkaba. I hadn't seen the actual structural form that you showed us, so I wasn't quite sure what it looked like.
Yeah, I'll share the pictures. So that's my purpose to bring that Merkaba pyramid physically here in Dallas. That's what I'm
Oh.
working.
Are you working on building one on your property, in your home? What
Not
kind
with
of,
hope, it's for public pyramid only.
oh, public. Okay. Will it be very large? What kind of dimensions are you looking at?
I got the intuition from Saint German, 40 by 40
Yeah, 40 by 40 feet or meters?
feet.
Feet. Okay. Yeah.
For public, right? At least a few people has to sit inside and meditate.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Very good. Well, thank you.
Thanks, James, for allowing me to share.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Happy. Happy to do that.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else want to talk about some aspect of what we've discussed so far in chapter 17, Language of Light?
And Merkaba also, it will activate both our masculine and able to balance both the masculine and feminine energies.
Okay. I've read about it and that it can be used as a vehicle for transportation
Yeah, that's
to
what
other
the
places
light
in the
body. That's
universe.
what. Yeah, same concept.
Is
Same.
it essentially astral travel in an aware state? You're actually aware of doing this travel and you can keep the memories with you when you come back.
In Himalayas, there are deep inside. There are so many yogis do that consciously. In the recent times, if you know about Pilot Baba, so maybe you don't know Pilot Baba. He
I,
recently repeated his body.
I
So
don't think I've heard of him, no.
yeah, Pilot Baba. He did. He wrote the books also. He wrote many books. So he used to consciously, like he physical body. He some days, few months also. Everything is recorded. So he's sit in the cave or underwater, under the earth. He stays there. A physical body stays there, but consciously with astral body, he travels around the cosmos, different planets.
Hmm. And
Because that's the fastest way of learning things.
very intriguing. I probably would like to read more about what he has written, I'm sure. What's his name again? Can you say it again?
Pilot,
Pilot.
Pilot, Pilot Baba.
Okay. I'll look him up.
He was a pilot. So once he was going towards the Himalayas, he got collapsed there. So masters took him inside the Shambhala. So
Oh yeah, sure.
they helped him. So later he completely transformed to the spirituality.
Hmm.
So he got the name Pilot Baba.
Hmm.
There are so many yogis are there, so many books are there, but they don't show up to the physical world. But recent times we have explored more. Pilot Baba, he did that.
Okay, very good. Thanks
All
for that.
future, like we are going towards the golden age, right? So they're all future
Yeah.
concepts. We are little advanced, so that's why I mean practically it will take time, but at least we are knowing in the theoretical way.
You mentioned Shambhala. I'm familiar with it only because of the movie Lost Horizon. It was a 1930s movie. It was made in Hollywood, really big names in the movie. It was about a plane crash in the Himalayan region, and the survivors were carried to, they didn't use the term Shambhala, but they used the term Shangri-La,
All
which
are
I think is the same thing. They were carried to this place called Shangri-La, which was basically a paradise on earth in the middle of the Himalayas. And the movie was very, very amazing. It was the first time I've really heard of this place, and the movie was very well done. So if you haven't seen Lost Horizon, check it out. You'll love it.
And 10th Insight also talks about Shambhala.
Who talks about it?
10th Insight.
Okay.
James, what is that? Zubia, what is that book? Like a energy book.
Yeah, it's the 12th one. 12th Insight. It's called Shambhala
Yeah, 12th
by
Insight.
James
Oh,
Redfield.
sorry,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
10th, 12th Insight.
yeah. It's and the name of the book is Shambhala.
Mm.
Oh, the name of the book is Shambhala. Okay.
Right, and it's written by James Redfield.
James
Oh,
Redfield, yeah.
okay. Well, I'll need to look that one up. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, during spiritual initial awakening days, I was so passionate about the word Shambhala. So wherever I find the books, are in Telugu also few books, and when I listen any videos, I listen and read. So slowly, I'm able to connect the dots as my frequency consciousness is expanding. So
Excellent. Well, it would be wonderful to be admitted into that place for a while. I think it would be just an amazing experience. So anybody who gets to go there is
You
very
just have to
privileged.
find it, James, inside
Yeah,
of
that's the thing. And I'm not thinking that I'd want to go into the Himalayas looking for it. I don't like cold weather, but I guess if I were on an airplane that crashed, I'd be hoping to find it, just like in the movie, you know? So,
Sure.
yeah.
and Mount Shasta, under Mount Shasta Telos, that was also part of Shambhala only. Just like how we have countries, different cities, right? Even inside
Yeah.
inner earth also, different parts of the places are there, not just one place. It's not just one place.
Well, Mount Shasta, that sounds like a good place to go.
And
So,
the inner earth, the Telos was also part of Shambhala only in inner earth, fifth dimension.
it's on my list of places to visit. I want to go to Mount Shasta, so I'm lucky. Maybe I'll find Shambhala over there.
Yeah.
You should go in the summer to Mount Shasta. It's really nice. The weather is good there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll look into it. How far away is it from Los Angeles?
We drove when we
Hours
got
drive.
there. We drove 3 hours, right, Naveen?
Yeah,
3 hours?
3.5 hours
Well,
from
it's not too bad. So, when we
Sacramento.
have our mega meditation summit in Los Angeles, could do a trip over to Mount Shasta for a
Yeah,
day
they are
at least.
I think they're planning the trip after the MMS3, uh,
Yeah.
LA to Mount Shasta. You can check with Madhuri.
Oh, okay.
PSSM team is organizing the trip
Oh,
tours.
I'm interested to go. I'll ask her about it. Thanks for
Yeah,
telling me.
sure. Please check with her. She will give you.
Yeah. Okay.
Jaya, are you coming to the MM3?
Yes, that is the plan
Okay, good.
so far. My son is going to college this year. He will be freshman. I hope he doesn't need us for the long weekend, but yeah, we are coming to California.
Sounds good. I'll be there too.
Yeah. And that trip is like they're planning a tour after the MMS3. It is for 4 5 days, James. And Mount Shasta is one of the place they will be going.
Okay. I want to get in on that for sure.
Mhm.
Are you going to do it as well?
5 days, right? So
Yeah.
it is I think as a package, 5 days.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I can.
Mhm.
I want to go, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
5 days I can take time off because I'm. Yeah, I think we are still recording, right? We are still recording.
Yes. I think we can
Sure.
continue.
Yeah. So yeah, I am taking I'm going to travel to visit my parents for 4 weeks, so I don't have time
Sure. Sure.
to take off another week.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
Mhm.
I'll talk to Marjorie about it. I want to make sure I get in on the planning of it. All right. Well, anything else anybody wants to say about Bringers of the Dawn?
Good. Yeah, good.
All right. Well, that's going to conclude it for tonight then.
Yes.
So thanks everybody for coming and participating. It was a pleasure to see you all again.
Thank you.
And I'll
Thank
see
you,
you next
James.
time.